The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
What the hell is it? Hello, y'all.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, sorry, guys.
Oh, yes. Hello,
Cracking
y'all.
some jokes here.
My wife's cracking jokes.
What? I don't crack jokes.
What were you doing then?
I don't know.
All right. Well, we're here. We're live, so you can tune in to your team. Hey, listen. I'm like so excited. Typically, through Christmas holidays, because we were on Christmas Eve, and New Year's holidays, the numbers are really supposed to dip. But you guys held strong, and actually, even more viewers chimed in.
Well,
That's
forget,
crazy.
Randy, I am here every week, right? So.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised. I know many people said, I should be doing solo shows during those times where they can get just great content, great information, but we decided that we would,
Would dumb it down?
hold it back a little.
You mean that you can actually hold you back?
Hold by having you guys here. We split the time. Information isn't quite as strong. I'm just kidding. Okay, so who wants to jump? Should we jump into this? Is a new year, man. Should we just jump into it?
We should, but before, make sure
Okay.
they know where they can reach us. So if you want to contact us, you have an email. If you want to let us know what your thoughts are, you can contact us at onair@yourteam.pro or on YouTube to search for @yourteampros. I know a few of you were emailing us during the week, and unfortunately, Randy did get to our system, and we all know when Randy gets in with the technology, stuff happens. So for a day or two, our email was down, but we are up and we're good to go. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them in. We would love to hear from you. And we got a lot of Happy New Year wishes from a lot of people. So let's go through some of the names. There was from Donna, from George, from Francis, from Jody, from Larry, from Ray, Glenn, Hank, William, Florence, if I didn't say it already. And I'm sure there's some others that we didn't get, so if we didn't get your email, I apologize for not mentioning you, but we do thank all of you for the Happy New Year wishes, and we want to wish all of you guys Happy New Year as well.
Yepers. Happy New Year.
And I petitioned for a new comfortable chair. Just saying.
Yeah, we'll get you a lazy boy chair. One of those ones
I don't
that
want a
actually
lazy boy chair, but look, if I'm to sit back, look at this.
all chairs will be like that unless we get you one of those kiddie chairs. And then you'll be lower than all of us.
Is this what our size? Is that what
Yeah.
right now?
That's the problem when you
No,
get grown-up
desk
chairs.
chairs aren't like this.
They're grown-up chairs, sweetheart, and you're supposed to sit up. That's why God gave you a back.
Yes, but when you're this old, you need cushioning for your back.
That's a different thing. But could we look into those toddler chairs there, Mike?
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. And, you would need your own desk, your own table as well.
I probably should have my own table.
You should. We
anyway.
probably should. And one right in front here, a nice little low one. Yeah, that would be good actually. And we could have like the kids real estate show, or the tiny people real estate show, Actually, it's not. It's small people. What is it to
What was
be
the politically
little
correct?
people?
Is it
Yeah, it's
little
midget.
That's sick, and the fact that you guys are laughing is just wrong.
That we're laughing?
She's not a midget, Gary. She's 4 feet 13 inches, which makes her a tiny person,
Right.
right?
So we have one last email from Tammy, who says, "Looking forward to your information today about real estate." And I think we're getting off to
And
a.
We're not gonna
Not
get.
talking
We're not
about
getting
real
there.
Once again, we're all, yeah.
You know what? I wanna jump on the market. Like
Oh,
so,
no.
I'm biting at the bit.
I'm
here.
gonna kind of jump in because otherwise we'll be 11:52 before I get this in. So I'm not sure if you guys heard about we had some interesting news transpire a few days ago about a house in Etobicoke that was sold illegally. I'm not sure if you guys heard of this, but it's pretty crazy thing. So there's not much information about the situation as of yet, but more or less what happened is a couple, they went on I think a work trip in January of 2022, and they came back to find that the house was sold. Not only was it sold, there was actually other people living in it already. So the house sold and closed, right? So it went through the full process of basically new people are living in their home. So again, they left for I'm not sure. It doesn't say how long they left for, but it said a few months later. Again, the house was sold, and pretty much there was two people who somehow faked some documents. They hired a real estate agent to sell this house, and the house was sold. So again, we don't know what information they had to be able to do this, but pretty much the police released a few pictures of this. I don't know if it's a couple or just two people trying to find out any information on them. So yeah, you want to make sure you have title insurance when you do have a house. I'm not sure. Again, how would this work with the title insurance?
That's a really good question. We should bring a lawyer on the show to handle it once they get more details. But the last time that something like that happened,
A few years.
it was quite they were attacking basically older people who didn't have a mortgage, because don't forget the mortgage has to be paid off in order for the person to receive the difference in the profits. It's this is not. As I don't believe it's as it appears. I don't believe that these two people pulled this off in isolation.
Oh,
There
no.
are
There's other people working in the bank. Like
how do you get past the realtors? Not like, okay, fine, you got the fake ID, but still you gotta,
lawyers, you got to sit.
But
then
the
again, there's
realtors
video calling now.
yeah, but still, realtors are first line. You're telling me you're not going to get any indications of that there's some foul play there. Sounds very odd. That to me is odd. And then, okay, fine. So you get past that line of defense, but then you also have to get past the lawyers, and then you have to get past the banking system. I mean, this reeks of multiple parties being involved. It's an inside job. Yeah. This is not an easy thing to do, and don't think that people can just go out there and sell your home because you went away on vacation. It's much more complex than that. However, I guess it is possible for someone who understands in totality the real estate, the legal, the banking system, and how all of that plays into a transaction with all of the checks and balances. Pretty complicated. There is certainly a way around it. I mean, if you have a relationship with your lawyer, you can always put a ding against your house. I mean, if you have a good relationship with your lawyer, you can do it. You can have, and I would recommend it for people who have a lot of equity in their home. As a matter of fact, this was a big thing, about 5-10 years ago. It was a big thing about that. And then today, oddly enough, when you go and get a mortgage, the banks are going to eat all your equity up on paper. So what they do is, let's say the home's worth $1 million and you're only getting a $300,000 mortgage. They actually will register the $1 million against your home, but they're only giving out 300,000. And the banks do that to stop you from being able to go and get a second mortgage or anything like that against the property without notifying them. So it's very difficult for thieves to be able to pull off these things. They have to,
Well, you also got to know that people are going away, how long.
You have to know, and you have to know how much equity they have in their home. There's quite a bit.
And another article kind of says, I'm talking about Terranet, and that basically if someone was able to get the key code to somebody somehow, it wouldn't take long to transfer titles and things like that. So
To transfer title, yeah, but you have to do that through a lawyer. You can't just go and transfer title like I'm going to go on my computer right now and do a PDF document and then transfer title. It just doesn't work like that. So, I mean, if I wanted to transfer my home to you, you know how much we'd be going through. Maybe 2-3 years could go by and we're not able to do it. It's not that easy. And so, but it's possible. Anything is possible. Look at it. We put a man on the moon. There was a Tesla on the moon, and then it came back and landed. Like, there's a lot of things that mankind can do, but this is a really rare event, and that's
it's rare, guys. Don't really worry about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry that much about it. If you
it.
really want, if you have a home that's free and clear, and you have enemies that would do something that you sense would do something like this because you go away, whatever, often, then one time. One of the times that they did this this tactic, the person didn't go away. They were living in the house, and the people didn't sell the house. They just went and got a mortgage on the property, and then they of course didn't make payments. So then out here comes the sheriff to kick them out. Give them the notice to kick them out. They go, "What the hell is this? I don't got a mortgage." And yep. That was registered against the property. It was fraudulent. So it can be done other ways as well. But to full out sell the property, holy smokes!
And somebody move in.
And
where'd they put all their belongings? Like they went through every motion of selling a house.
It sounds pretty extreme. I'd almost say it's a joke, to be honest.
It's not a joke.
It could be. Is this April? Are we in April?
No,
not quite.
It's not
April 1st? No. Okay.
Before we move on, we did get an email from Nancy. Nancy says, "Hey, your team. The reason a lot of us were listening to you during the holidays is that none of us could afford a house. So we wanted to listen to see if you would give us any instructions on how to put it together, on how to put together our IKEA dollhouse. Blessings to all of you in 2023." And we actually have one just came in about what we're just talking about. Subject line, inside job from Madden. Randy is so right about this. An inside job at its finest. The homeowners could possibly be involved with this. Inside job for sure. That's another way.
It's a possibility. I'm not sure if the homeowners would have, because that's a lot of hassle to go through to make some money. Who wants money that well? You want it bad, but you don't want it at that.
If that's how you make money by conning people, then it's just another con.
I think it's an inside job, but not inside. It would be hard for me to believe that the homeowners would want to go through that hassle. That would
People burn their houses down all the time to try to collect insurance.
All the time?
Yeah, it's a bit.
What kind of people do you know? Is this a whole bunch of tiny people?
No, but it happens. I'm just saying.
Is it worth it to burn your own house? Like they'll build back the house. Are you actually getting extra money?
No, you're not getting money.
You're getting a brand new house.
Okay, brand new house maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, sounds pretty extreme.
Okay, we have another one from Beth. Subject line, punishment. Hey, your team, I would give them the chair. So maybe she's talking about these two
electric chair.
These two people who I guess
stole.
Apparently did this.
Hey, Beth, and I thought you were going to say give her a chair. I mean, get her a chair she wants.
If you want a chair, but the chair she's talking about.
There's only about 50 in the office.
I was thinking the chair that you would get is the one that when you pull the lever, it stands up, and so you can easily stand up, but it's got some electric components to it. But the electric chair she's talking about is very different.
Oh, it might electrify me. Who knows?
It will electrify you. Get curly hair. Okay. So do you want to do your buzz?
Mine's really tiny. It's just about.
Oh, it's tiny, is it?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Niblet.
Okay. What did you call me, Piglet? Or
Niblet. Actually, that is a really good nickname for you, Niblet.
Niblet, okay.
Isn't like a niblet just like one of those kernels of corn? I'm thinking the Jolly Green Giant. Didn't he have a niblet
Is that what they're
or
called?
something? I don't know. I don't know where it came
Sounds
from.
kind of familiar.
It does.
though.
I don't know how it rang in my
can't
head.
think
I
of
know
it
I didn't
now.
make it
I
up.
think you guys are aging yourself. No offense.
No, I
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know, we're all
Niblets. I don't know if anybody out there knows what a niblet.
corn niblet, a corn niblet. Okay. I don't know how important that is, but anyways, the 3 most affordable places to buy a home right now. Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay. and Randy singing, who's going to Thunder Bay?
There is a
cold.
bar out there, though.
There is a bar.
There's a local bar there.
The estimated price for this year is going to be $338,366. That's a
In
good
Thunder
price.
Bay?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah,
Try
but
it too.
At the average, the
you
typical
can't work.
2023 down payments forecast cost only $67,673, with an average mortgage amount of $270,600 and a monthly payment of $1,674.
Actually, Thunder Bay's probably grown.
So, and
Remember-
if you can work remotely,
What's on that bay? 4 hours from Toronto?
no, it's
I
the
used to
furthest
fly
point.
there on
It's the
Bearskin
last point
Airlines.
before you exit Ontario. I know that.
How long did it take? I used to fly Sudbury,
We're
Thunder
talking about
Bay,
driving,
Winnipeg. I never ever drove. It's too far to drive. I've driven to Sudbury. Mike, do you know how far
Yeah,
it is
it's
to get?
it's 12 hours from Sudbury to Thunder Bay, and it's 16 hours from Toronto to Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It's a long ways.
It's far.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that makes
I've
sense
driven
then.
to Sudbury, but never Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay
Yeah.
was too far.
Well, Sudbury is the next one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's-
Sudbury's actually more populated. It's more of a
so it says you could be calling Nickel home for less than half the projected
Nickel City.
Oh, Nickel. Okay, sorry. Projected 2023 Toronto average. So Sudbury is expected to cost about $490,000 this
That's
year.
still super high. That's
Well,
still,
it's
I can't
under
believe it.
half a million. You
I
can't find
know.
a house here for under
That's a
half
lot of
million.
money. That's
You mean for Sudbury, it's a lot of money? Or just in general?
yeah. I would think that. I think. You know, do you remember? I guess you know. I'm just too old. Do you remember when we were looking to buy our first home? We would never, ever, ever even consider anything 300 or more.
I remember
or
when
more.
300,000 was like,
Was
oh my God.
a lot, yeah. So we went to 250, and we
because
would
it's
not
over a
do
quarter
a
of a
dollar
million.
over 250. You remember?
Yeah.
And we still bought a 3,300 square foot home.
Like, might get 33 square feet now.
So if we were to buy like a 500,000, we would have like a 8,000 square foot home. And like that's ridiculous. No, there's no way. And now you have to go to Sudbury to get that.
no, to get twice that, or twice the price.
And it's
Anyways,
hard to fathom.
The
Go
down
ahead.
payment would be about $100,000. Mortgage would be about $392, and that's $24.26 a month mortgage. So those are more,
That seems, $2,400 a month for Sudbury seems,
yeah.
yeah.
And
I think it's high.
Yeah, for 4 hours north of the city.
Yeah. Well, next is Windsor.
But Sudbury is nice, though. It is a nice place.
Still 4 hours. Like, I don't know. I'm a city. Well, I'm a small city guy. That's a bit too. Well, maybe it's. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's medium.
yeah.
Like Thunder
I mean,
Bay
like-
is.
like I couldn't
Small.
live in Toronto, but I wouldn't want to be 4 hours away from Toronto at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. What's your third one,
The
babes?
third one is Windsor. Windsor, which is right on the border.
Yeah, that's
So if you
actually a
like
nice
shopping
town.
in the States, Windsor might be the place for you. So it says this year's projected around $650,000. I'm rounding off the numbers because it's just too confusing. Which means purchasing a home in, they call it Junior Detroit, with the average down payment of around $130,000. That would give you a house of of 520,000, a mortgage of 3,200 a month,
Wow.
which represents 51% of your monthly income. You can't even do that.
You can't do that, yeah. You wouldn't.
You got to stay between like
30,
around
you have
30.
to be at 39 at the highest at
Yeah.
GDS.
So that's not
to
really
get that.
affordable. Blog TO.
Well, it's really interesting. We have to grow up. We honestly do. How
I don't want to grow up.
yeah, because these prices are the prices. They're here. They're here and they're here to stay. COVID totally changed things, and it wasn't really COVID. It was the government policies during COVID, government policies during the pandemic. I am not going to blame the pandemic at all. I'm going to blame our government for the way in which they reacted, and the policies that they put in place, the fiscal policies that they brought about, and the Bank of Canada for joining them with monetary policy and fiscal policy, combining them together to create this monster that we now have to go and battle.
It's the Loch Ness monster from Scooby-Doo.
The Niblet monster. So you got an email there? I saw Jackie laughing, so there was something came across.
Yeah, we got one from Glenn. Subject line, what I did. Hi, I'm a midget, and I burned down my house after I tried to sell my neighbor's house.
So Glenn, you're in a lot of trouble. But you tried, which means you didn't succeed, folks, so don't do it.
There you go. Yep, that's all we got.
But I don't understand. Does he want us to report him? Is he joking?
Want some notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before you go on your half-hour tangent, I'll just do my last one here. So we all remember during COVID, we had these, basically everyone was just trying to sell their house, everyone was trying to cash out, everyone was trying to get in the market, but there was not many houses to sell. And a lot of people during this time when they were buying, they would buy houses with no clauses, right? No inspection, just basically just, I want this, I'm just gonna bid as much as I can, hopefully I'll win. And yeah, so what happened is a lot of people kind of maybe overstretched themselves because they wanted to get in, there wasn't much choice. So in BC, this is one of the reasons that they've actually imposed a 3-day cooling off period. So pretty much if you buy a house now in BC, there's a 3-day period where you can back out of that transaction. The point of it, or they say, is so that, again, you have the ability to look for financing, you have the ability to get an inspection, but 3 days really wouldn't be enough time for this anyway, so I'm not really sure how much that would help per se. And again, even now the market's kind of cooled off where it's good to have it, and maybe when this is, the market heats up again, but for now I'm not sure how much it would help. And I guess the one thing that will help with I guess sellers is that the one way to try to keep it so that serious buyers are still putting in offers is that they put in a $250 cancellation fee per every $100,000, right? So if you put an offer in for $1 million and you decide that, you know what, 2 days have passed and I think I made a mistake, you can cancel, but you are still going to be charged, in this case, $2,500 as a cancellation fee. So yes, I'm not sure. What do you guys think about this new thing in BC? Should we do it here in Ontario, or is this something that's kind of this? It happened during COVID, and it kind of like just said, let's do this without putting much thought into it. What are your opinions?
You got any opinions, babes? Because I got a lot.
I think, you're just creating another avenue to scare people with the real estate market. That's what I think. But hey, what do I know?
Well, I mean, there's two sides to the coin, right? For a buyer, it gives them time to collect their thoughts, even though they probably should have had them collected before they got into the process. If they had a great team around them, they would have been totally ready and totally collected. And I don't think it's really going to have a lot of effect on the marketplace. There's going to be, the outliers that take advantage of these kind of situations, Jack. And so And so there are some people who will try to take advantage of this. In this marketplace, as Anthony said, most people have 5 days for financing inspection. If you're buying a condo, you have 10 days because you need the status certificate. So, and actually it's 13 days because you got another 3 days to have your lawyer review it. So you have a 13-day cooling off period per se.
Yeah, but those are, you get out of the deal for particular reasons if you're using those.
Yeah, because you don't like something about the status certificate, like it came on photocopied paper, or you don't like black and white, you like yellow and green, and it came in black and white. So there, I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek. Because there's always, depending on the individual, there's always something that you cannot like. Right? Isn't that the way the world works? Think of the most popular person in the world. I don't know. The Pope. People don't like, there are many people who don't like the Pope. Who else? I don't know, Gandhi. There's many people who didn't like Gandhi. Mother Teresa, many people say bad things about her. I have no idea.
Is it Gandhi or Gandhi?
Okay.
It's Gandhi.
The Buddhist monks don't do anything wrong. Many people hate them. Catholics, Hindus, whatever. You're going to get people who are just don't like things. There's yin and yang. And so there's going to be things in there that you can decide you don't like and therefore get out of the deal. So here's the oddball part of this, is that in this particular market, it's a nothing burger. It really means absolutely nothing. It's doing absolutely nothing for anybody because most people are on 5-day financing, and if it's a condo, like we say, you're having up to 13 days. But if the market were to turn around and heat up and you have no time to decide and you have to be urgent and you may not even had time to put the perfect team together to help you, and have people like us that are really in there only for you, not for the commission, and you have those people in there digging in and driving, not everybody has that. And so having a cooling off period would probably be a good thing. However, I'm just going to say it's very short-lived, because when that market comes, there are going to be clauses that also come along with it, like Anthony's alluding to, but his is a friendly clause where you lose 25%. This other clause will be you lose it all. You lose it all. You can back out in the 3 days and follow the law there, but you, upon this, are giving this money and releasing it to the owner, and if you back out, you're backing out without your deposit.
But is that like a legal clause you can put in there?
I will guarantee you they're going to come up with the loophole clause. I will guarantee it, because with every rule there's a loophole. Every rule. So for example, we have a situation where you need professional realtors to get out to ensure that you are who you say you are and that is your home to sell your home. There are professional banks in place to make sure that money goes into an account that's your name. It can't go, I can't sell my house and have that check given to Anthony. The lawyer won't allow it. No, it just can't happen. It can't go. It's not possible. With all the influencing that I could have in the real estate industry, I cannot make that happen. And that's on the bank side, and then you got the lawyer protection. So the system is tied up. But these two yahoos, probably along with some other people, found the loophole in the system and were able to circumvent the realtors, able to circumvent the mortgage agents, or the bankers, or able to circumvent the legal system. So if they can do that, I'm pretty sure the real estate world can come up with a clause that will circumvent the clause of the policy that they made. And they already did, because you told me that, hold on, they can back out of the deal, but they'll lose 25%. So what about backing out and losing 100%?
Okay, take a breath.
What about backing down?
Take a breath.
No, but I'm just saying, and losing 100%.
But
well, is there...
Okay, you speak? Did I speak?
No, not really.
So the clause is that's part of the bill. Basically, it's saying it's not something that the realtors made or whatever. It's just part of the whole thing that they made was if someone cancels out, the cancellation policy is as such. So, in terms of what you're saying,
and what is that in association with their deposit?
all the thing says is the cancellation thing. For basically, you put in an offer. You say, I want this house. I'm going to pay $1 million for it. Then you go home. You're like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? What was I doing? I made a mistake. I can't afford this. I just lost my job. Whatever it is, and you say, you know what? I'm sorry, Mr. Seller or real estate guy. I can't afford this. So I'm going to back out. And then they say, fine, no problem. That's your right now because of the laws that are being put in place. But unfortunately, part of the law says that if you make an offer, you have to do it in good faith. So you did it in good faith, yes, but you're backing out now. So now it's for every $100,000 of the offer, you must pay $250.
So on $1 million home, they have to pay $250,000.
$2,500. Sorry, for every $100,000. Sorry, for every $100,000 is $250.
$250.
So on $1 million home, it'd be $2,500.
Okay.
A lot cheaper than getting sued.
And what I would say is that's one clause that's within that policy. I am pretty
But it's not a-
sure
it's not a cl-
it's not a
it's
clause.
just
It's
a
part of
law.
their policy. So that's fine. So, but I'd have to see that. But I will guarantee you. Let's pretend that it says something like, you'll have to pay that as a penalty for the home or whatever. Okay, fine. So now your deposit won't be a deposit. It'll be a gift that gets given directly to the homeowner, and will give you a discount of that exact amount on the house. Like, I'm just telling you that there are going to be loopholes that when the time comes and you have a heated market, and you're not going to have a choice because what's going to happen is the market is going to come up with different clauses in order to benefit their clients. That's what we're going to see.
You might be right, but we'd have to see exactly what the law says and how it's worded.
And the fact that you say might be is interesting because I've been around long enough to know that different markets bring different philosophies, and our government has never been good. Look at our tax laws. From my understanding, the tax code is like 2 feet deep of paper. And how many loopholes are in that? We don't know any of them because we don't have the money to know them. But you talk to the wealthy, and they got a whole bunch of lawyers, and they got all kinds of loopholes in there. And the thing is, it's 2 feet deep of paper. So, you giving us, a couple sheets of paper on a rule, I will tell you it will be circumvented when the time comes.
We will see.
That's my story, is sticking to it.
Gary, we need to archive this one with a star on it.
Archive it, and you'll find that that's exactly what will happen. I guarantee you.
All right, so before I give you the floor, well, you always take the floor, but before I willingly give you the floor.
The walls, the ceiling.
We have a few emails. One from Tim. Tim says, Happy New Year to you all at your home. The information and real estate news that your report is outstanding. Thank you very much for it. Thank you, Tim. We have another one from Tina. Subject line, down payment. Hey, Randy and crew. What is the usual down payment for a house here in the GTA? The percentage, thanks. So that depends. If it's above $1 million, then you're paying 20% down. You have to pay 20% down.
$1 million or above.
$1 million or above, yeah. Below $1 million, it depends. Below $500,000 is at least 5%. From 5 to 700, anything above 500,000 is another 10%. Up to 750, I think, is it?
Up to $1 million.
Oh, is it 10%? Is this, okay, so $500,000 and below, at least 5%. Between 500,000 and $1 million, anything between the 500 and $1 million is an additional 10%. Above $1 million, 20%.
Right. And Anthony, I listened carefully to each one of his words, and he did say correctly, but it's still a little bit confusing, I think, because it's a little bit confusing. It is 5%, as he said. The simple ones are 5% for anything below $500,000 below, and 20% for everything above $1 million. The tricky part is when it's over $500,000, on the difference, on the difference. So everything below, you still got the 5%, but the difference. So if you go up to 600,000, you have to pay 10% on the difference between the 500,000 and the 600,000. So that's 100,000. So you have to pay 10% on that 100,000. So you're paying the 10% on it to grow. So this is like, I had a client call me and said, you know, they have a friend who's got who's in some trouble. They've had their condo on the market for quite some time. They can't sell it. They're running into problems and yada 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 yada. So you know, so this was one of our VIP clients. So we definitely want to help them, but unfortunately, the person who they're asking us to help is already got a realtor, and we're not that realtor. So they're looking, you know, for the advice in that. So there are a lot of rules that do not allow us to interfere with that listing. But nonetheless, for my client, because that was sort of like a good friend, we then looked into what was going on. That person had their condo listed for $1,050,000, and they said that they were willing to take $950,000, right? But they wanted to have negotiation room. The realtor said that this is a good way to do it, whatever, and the market and that property sat there. So while we could not give that seller any information, we could give our VIP client information, and she could relay it to that seller. So we explained to her exactly what Anthony just went over. One of the issues, if you're willing to sell your condo at the $950,000, what you're doing in terms of the price marketing of your home is really hurting you, because the client that you're advertising to has to put over $200,000 down. But the client that you need to purchase the home only needs to put $75,000 down. So you're talking to the wrong people. So if you were to adjust your pricing so that you would begin to target the people that only have the $75,000 down, which means then you will then be talking to the right people, and the chances of you selling your condo become exponentially greater if it's marketed properly. 2 weeks later, their condo was sold.
I can't even. Is there more to that?
So, well, no, I mean, it just kind of goes to show, you know, having the right people on your side is certainly a good thing, but also understanding the marketplace and being with people who can help you to understand the marketplace so you can make those educated decisions can be huge. Go ahead, hon.
No, I was going to say, like, over all the years that we've been in real estate, I mean, I can't even count the number of people whose friends went with some realtor.
Discount realty.
And yeah, and then they're
And
calling
then they're
us
in problems.
crying. And we're like, we can't help your friend. We legally cannot help. They had, oh, well, how can I get you in? You can't. You got a realtor.
Well,
Unfortunately,
we spend about half an hour to an hour figuring out that person's situation, looking at the comps in the building and all that stuff to help out our VIP friend. Because, I mean, our customers mean the world to us. That's everything. And we don't have to make money for stuff we do for them. We'll make money when the time comes. But all of our VIP customers, and we'd love for you guys to become that, they pick our brains all the time. And that's one of the benefits of being there and having, you know, a great team around you. And it's really interesting that I was having this conversation with a business partner in another business, and we were talking about that this morning. Is that, you know, you can choose to go the discount way. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's not the same. You think you're saving. There's absolutely no savings. It's discounted for a reason. And so, you know.
And the sad thing is that people really don't know. Because if somebody tells you your house is worth this, I can, you know, I'll give you this commission, I can sell it for this. You don't really know when you get a price you think is good. You really don't know if that's the right price for your home. Many times, like when I go back and I look at stuff, And I'm like, you overpaid, and people don't like to hear it, but
Or
I
under-
show them the facts. I'm
Your
like,
buyer
look,
client.
this is what's going on in this area right now, and you paid $30,000 more. And they're like, oh, but I went to the listing realtor. Yeah, he wasn't looking out for you.
Well, but he's not supposed to.
No,
Being
right.
fair, he's not supposed to look out for your interests.
But what I'm saying is people don't know
He's
what
supposed
they
to
don't
look out
know.
for the seller's interest because the seller hired him to do that. And if he's looking out for his own commissions, that's a different problem. But as a buyer, so buyers who go running to the listing agent, you get what you get.
Well, I'm just going to put this out there in the air right now, and I could be totally wrong. But with the way the economy is right now, with the way that real estate is, I mean, if you go in and do some reading, we're down 45% of our income because of all this hypocrisy that's going on in the system. So, yeah, I made that word up.
Yeah, I thought so.
It was called gibberish wording. Anyways, you are going to have realtors out there that are going to be starving because as it is,
Be careful.
no, okay, you're going to have realtors out there that aren't doing much business and they're going to be looking to get business and who knows what they're going to tell you. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know about that, hon. So, I hear what you're saying. There, in every industry, you have good and not as
Yeah.
good.
Whoa. You're like at a loss for words right now. You okay?
No, it's
He
I don't.
believes I shouldn't have said what
No,
I said.
I
but-
don't believe in disparaging, especially when you're
I'm-
when you're speaking to 4,000 people. Like it's not like you're just
I'm
talking to
just
some guy
saying
in a
that
closet
you
somewhere.
need to
You're
be- I can go in the closet with you if you want, but you need.
The
that
PG
would
show, guys.
that would be
I
appreciated.
guess the way I word it,
Like right after the show, or like
sure, right after. No, you have a meeting after the show, so no, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not trying to. I'm just. I guess.
I know
I'm
what you
trying to
mean. Some
say,
people may be
Be
desperate,
careful and make sure that.
but I think they were
you
more desperate when.
Knowledge yourself.
I think it was worse when it was going rampant because the market was going so fast. Everybody was getting business, and therefore, even the people who didn't quite know exactly a lot about the industry and that were getting business and given advice that may
Yeah.
not have been the
Yeah.
best advice. So, so I understand where you're coming from. I think it may have been worse then, and I understand how it could be considered worse now because the market has dropped in half. That makes sense, and half the money is floating around. It totally makes sense.
And it's,
I think, yeah, just the majority.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. I think the majority of people are pretty good, but yeah.
All right, one last email, just from Rita. Rita says, "Thank you, Pastor Randy." And there's,
And there's a
an
picture of
image
it.
of someone
pastor.
pontificating. So, yeah, I was kind of curious. Like, you must during school for English class, like you must have just popped out those essays. Like,
I used to get in so much trouble because I would, like my wife did, I would make up my own language at times.
But I just mean,
because
like-
I thought it was cool. Like, you know how much trouble I get in? The English teacher say, you can't just make up the rules. And I go, no, but that's how this person speaks.
I'm just saying, for me, I have a 500-word essay. I'm just looking at that bar at the bottom. Okay, my 300 words.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had 500-word essay. You have like 2,000 words.
Yeah, that is
like,
true.
Okay, Mr.
And then
Rodney,
you're condensing.
That's a little too much. Can you take
No, I
it
would
back?
condense it. But yeah, you are right.
My
I
husband
never
is
had a shortage of words.
ABC with everything. If writing down, holy smokes, try to
Yeah.
be writing something down with him. And it's like,
Yeah, I
hurts my head. Because he's so, like, sometimes you don't
little
need to tell
over
people
detailed, yeah.
that, the diaper goes on this way. They know. Like,
I hear you,
and
sweetheart.
he starts everything from the beginning. Even if
In
you're already
the beginning.
Even if you're already in the middle of the story, he's like, well, let me recap
I mean,
now.
let's do some foundation laying here.
Anyways, what's the market got to have to say to us?
Well, one thing that I would like to do, because right now my head is quite large.
Right now.
I am very happy that and proud to say that I am now wearing an extra large hat, and for you listeners that have been following us all year, I am actually using the computer now, Mike, if you want to zoom in and out of that every now and then. I am so proud that the Toronto Real Estate Board has come out with their numbers, and they don't have the year in review yet, but they certainly do have snippets of the year and just putting things out. And if you guys remember, and you guys have been following us since January, February, March, when things dropped, April, May, and we were talking about all the articles are talking about a crash and a this and a that, and I was saying no, it's not a crash. I'm like one of the only people saying no, and then one of the great leaders within the industry came out and did an article talking about doing what my wife just did, kind of disparaging realtors that are using traditional numbers, and I had to write him back, and we had a back and forth, which we didn't necessarily meet eye to eye. Well, it was all about the fact that this year was, while we were going through this really turbulent marketplace, we were still above last year. And so it was not a crash. And as a matter of fact, yes, it's not a good environment. It doesn't feel comfortable, but we're not in a crash. And so now, and remember, and you remember me, I am pretty sure, we can go back and grab the snippet if you don't. But it was saying, well, when would it be a crash? I go, when we get into negative numbers.
So we weren't in a crash, so are we in a crash now?
I'll get into that in a second if you want. But yes, we officially are now in the crash as of January the 1st. And I'll explain to you what I mean there. Will it crash by the end of the year? Will we have had a year that crashed? Yes. And so, unless something turns around and I don't know, and they start, but if Tiff Macklem, because this guy single-handedly has our economy in his hands. So I don't, and he's flip-flopped like a fish all over the place, and he's the one that sets the monetary policy. So if he flips on a dime, the market will flip. I believe it. But and because of the indicators that are in the market, I believe the market will flip. So that nobody has control over other than him, and even he probably doesn't have control over, because he's looking at other numbers that will determine that. If he hurls us into a recession, he's probably going to flip on a dime. Anyways, I said at that time we were not in a crash, and as a matter of fact, we are going to end up better than last year. And last year, and I'm talking, this is in 2022 and early in 2022, and the year before was the best year of the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. So everybody sort of thought I was on crack. This guy with his articles is on crack, whatever this stuff. Toronto Real Estate Board, right now, I'm going to read this. The average selling price for 2022 was $1,189,850 for 2022. That's up 8.6% compared to 2021. Okay, which was 1,095,333. The growth was strong. The growth was based on a strong start to the year in terms of year-over-year price growth. The pace of growth moderated from the spring onwards in 2022. Basically, we just came off of a very turbulent year, where we had an 8.6% increase over last year, making 2022 the highest average priced in the history of our earth here, history of time here in the GTA. Okay, there has never been a higher priced year than last year, with all the turbulence and all of the down spiraling that happened. Our average price was up 8.6%. Now, when I say 8.6%, I don't say that lightly, because in any other time, an 8.6% increase is massive. That's a massive increase. like we're typically looking generally over, throughout Canada, 3%, the GTA 5%. If you go into Toronto and you really pull it out, 7%. But 8.6 throughout the GTA is just massive. And that was our average price increase for last year. So, go ahead.
Yeah, again, 8.6, but it was a lot. It was front loaded. Like what was it?
Of course it was.
30% from.
Yeah. It was definitely front loaded, but nonetheless, the point being is that I had said that we were going to have
back to the
an
important
increase. Yeah,
stuff.
I said we were going to have an increase, and I'm going to give some more predictions right here. What's going to happen in January? What's going to happen in February? So you understand, okay? And we're in January now. To do that, I need to take us on a little journey. Okay, and so.
You sound like my 9-year-old there.
And so that journey is basically looking at what has happened throughout the year. It was front loaded, Anthony said. So if the increases were front loaded, then we are now going up against those front loaded numbers. You got to understand what's going on, because you're going to hear stuff in the media just like you heard last year. And if you weren't listening to this channel, you would never have anticipated us having an average price increase for the year, when from March on everything died. There's no way you could have anticipated unless you were listening to me, which Anthony doesn't want to do. Here's what's going to happen. The month of January, we are going to have double-digit decreases. Okay? Not 8.6%, more like 15, 18, 20, 22% decrease in the market. That officially is a crash. Boom! We're in a crash. Negative 20% over the month of January. Well, by the time we get to the end of it, in the average price, that is what you're going to see. Double digits, which means it's going to be higher than 10% increase. And I'm looking at 20 as the target. Then we're going to get into February. Now you're going to have articles just bombarding. Market has crashed. And they're right. It has. Last year they weren't right. And I said it. This year they're going to be right. In February, we're going to see 30%. 25, 28, 29, 30, 32. We're going to see double digits again, negative, and climbing over 20. So in February, it's going to be huge, and I think it's going to be around 30% would be my target if I had to pick round numbers. 20 in January, 30 in February. Percent decrease in the market. That's a crash. That's a huge crash, and that's what we're going to see, the headlines everywhere. And the reason why, and then we're going to go back down in March to double digits again, decrease in the market, but it's going to start to phase off from there. It's going to start to phase off from 30 down, maybe back down to 20, and then start going down into the teens. And we're going to have a horrible real estate year this year. Absolutely pathetic. It's going to be a market crash.
Jeez,
period.
Anybody out there have a job for me?
And that is what we're going to see in terms of market conditions versus last year. Okay, but one thing that you got to keep in mind. So this is what the industry and all you're going to see over all the news and everything. But remember, you got to keep in mind that we are front loaded. So that's where all of the action is going to be, on that front loaded end, which is the January, February numbers, are what we're going to compare this year to last year. Right? So that's what we're going to see, and we're going to experience. And we can always come back to these things, and we can always check the predictions, and we know that if I'm saying it, that definitely it's going to happen that way, and not because I'm brilliant, but because it's because I'm a geek. It's because
So
I'm
what
in
about
the numbers.
You think there's going to be another mortgage hike? Another rate
Yeah,
increase?
in January, this month, he's going to increase
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
talked to a few people and they're like, no. I'm like,
Yeah, well,
don't
you
be
know, they've been saying
surprised.
no for how long? Listen,
Don't be surprised.
Tiff Macklin, honestly,
It's on crack.
the poor guy, I don't know, he might be. Because you know what? If you see the people who do the coke in that, something happens to their nose, right? It gets like
Does
whatever.
it?
If you look at his nose, it's got like what? Anyways,
So Jackie disparaging the cable.
but I'm just kidding. I mean, you know what?
I was talking to a group of people. You're singling out somebody.
But just
You said he's on crack.
just to add on.
Oh, hold on. Crack you don't stuff through your nose. It's coke you stuff
Don't
through
you
your nose.
light up crack and needle it? I don't know.
That's above my pay
A
grade.
little crack pipe. I don't know.
Anyways, just to add on to what you're saying there with these losses, I think to add on to that as well, because we were talking about before with all these rate hikes we had last year. Remember, we were talking about it takes 60, 90, sometimes even a year for it to catch up. So out of that as well will also add on to this decrease, which can happen. And even though I think you're right in terms of January, February, March is going to be crazy, I'm not sure the decline will be much more, even though the market just starts to drop because of these rate hikes as well. That I think that could be an additional factor which will
It could be.
keep these declines pretty big.
And I'm
Be
going.
another spring where you just can't predict what's going like last year.
I already predicted it, hon. It's already
Okay.
predicted, yeah. And it's
Lock
an
it in.
easy,
Okay.
it's an easy prediction when you're watching the numbers. You know, if you're watching them every day, it's like, and you know the history. This one's a no-brainer. What I just told you is just a no-brainer. I know nobody's talking about it like that out there, but that's just because they haven't looked at it. That's all. So the great minds that we have, they're thinking about other things, so that's why they're not talking about this.
I
But
wonder what they're thinking about.
because my mind
where
isn't
they're
that
going to buy their
my
toilet
mi-
paper. Like, what are they thinking about?
my mind isn't that great, and so if I can see it, they'll be able to see it if they look at it. Now, what happened in December? Sales are down 48.2%. New listings are down 21.3%. And active listings are up 169%. Wow. Does that mean that there's way too much inventory on the market? No. There's next to no
That is
inventory on the
just
market.
New listings, that's not.
What happened was that last year, hold on, I want to do it like Joe Biden. What happened was, it was like last year.
Come on, man.
I was going to say that. Come on, man.
What happened was the dramatic effect when he leans in and he does that. That what happened was that last year there was no inventory. If you remember, that's why it was so ridiculous. So so that's why, being at 169% over last year, you think it means there's a lot of inventory. Well, this is a percent number. The actual numbers, we have 8,692 listings, which only gives us like a 1.9, so under 2 months of inventory. Under 2 months of inventory. If no more listings came to the market and the sales continued at this incredibly slow pace that it's at, within 2 months we'd be completely out of inventory. And that is considered a seller's market. Okay, you have to be at 3 months to get into the balanced market, and depends on whose camp you're in, 5 to 6 months to be in a buyer's market.
Speaking about camps, if that happens, I won't only be looking for a job, I'll be looking for somewhere to sleep. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. So the average price in December was down. It's the biggest decrease of last year, with 9.2%. 9.2, so that's almost hitting a double-digit decrease. So can you see the climb of the negative climbing that we're doing? And remember what Anthony said, I think it was beautiful. Uploaded, it was front-loaded. And so we're just heading into the eye of the storm And it's going to taper off after that. I'm not even taking into account anything that the Bank of Canada is going to do, any of the rate hikes. I'm not taking any of that into account because that's really complicated, and it's also a lagging. Usually, we're saying like 6 months. It does rock consumer confidence immediately, but it usually doesn't come into the economy within like a year and a half, and we've sort of fronted it onto 6 months to a year because we saw that it was making a big difference right away. The average days on market, it is taking 110% longer to sell a home now than before. So that's
more showings to get an offer is also.
Yes, more showings to get an offer, more offers to sell your house.
Yeah.
You used to be able to sell your house in the one offer, done.
And
pretty
they always
much.
said your first offer is
Is
more
your
likely
best?
your best.
Not
That's
today.
Not the case now.
You get buyers going out there looking at the prop and throwing in some silly offer.
Like 2 years ago, the prices.
They're not looking to buy. They're dreaming to steal.
They're just wasting their time. They got nothing else to do but go look at houses.
Some people, and you're there for your buyer, so that's what they're going out.
And it's 12 o'clock.
What the heck? You guys took all my time. And you got to email. Well, you know what? I can't. The only thing I want to say here is that we have 1.9 months of inventory, and our sales to new listing ratio is 49.2%. So that's teetering on the seller's market. So all of our indicators are showing that we have a very strong real estate market. But meanwhile, if you're out in the field, it seems like it's a desert. It's a buyer's market. But that's the policies that are in place creating a false marketplace. That's what you're seeing right now. Do your email, sign us out. Let's do this.
All right, so a quick one from Kim. Kim was basically saying she was listening to us, enjoying the show. So thank you, Kim, for joining along for the ride. For everyone else, hopefully.
Thank you, Kim.
She's from.
And she said we're funny. What are you forgetting? You're not telling the best part of the
they
email.
know I'm funny. Well, she's from Cleveland, not Idaho. Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, Ohio.
Yeah,
Sorry.
come on there now.
It's a good thing you're watching over here.
Trying to correct me with the incorrect information. All right, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a fight after this.
for following along with us. Hopefully you'll be back with us next week. If you have any emails, I'll make sure Randy doesn't mess with our stuff again. Send it to onair@yourteam.pro. We would love to hear from you. And as always, it's your home, your money, and our lives on realityradio101.com. Have a great weekend.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.